to Rand Paul website and you see fire Dr. Fauci with a little box that says contribute here. You can do $5, $10, $20, $100. So you are making a catastrophic epidemic for your political gain.
Throwing our health officials under the bus, our nation's lawmakers freely speaking out, insulting, defaming, and in some cases accusing them of falsehoods, yet none of them are being held accountable for the rhetoric that incites threats of violence. And it's now becoming part of the political fabric in some places. Our BNC contributor Tezlyn Figaro is back. And Tezlyn, it seems that the problem is really getting out of hand. American citizens taking it upon their own to act upon the rhetoric coming from lawmakers. Listen to Dr. Fauci recently.
Just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, on December 21st, a person was arrested who was on their way from Sacramento to Washington, D.C. at a speed stop in Iowa. And the police asked him where he was going, and he was going to Washington, D.C. to kill Dr. Fauci. And they found in his car an AR-15 and multiple magazines of ammunition because he thinks that maybe I'm killing people.
Tezlyn, how do you even respond to something like that? And this is the most interesting point. He's sitting there basically saying someone was coming to Washington to kill me. And yet the senators were like, oh, yeah, OK, now let's move on to the next question. Let's ask him about his wages or something like that. Have we now crossed the lexicon, the Rubicon, when it comes to violence? And it's now OK to threaten the lives of public health officials, school board members, et cetera?
Yeah, well, the sheets have been removed. The personality behind the sheet, the symptom of the larger problem has always been there. And now we have an opportunity to see who's who. And the veteran in me, I'd rather know who my enemies are flat out. The question is, what will be done to send folks to jail once they're caught exposing themselves? Will we change the rhetoric of how people feel? No, Dale, we won't. Will we change how these congressmen and senators, how they feel? No, we won't. We won't. This is where I love to have the generational conversation with you, because what I know about my generation is we understand that it is what it is. These people have dug their heels in. When will we fight back? Where is our Marjorie Taylor on the left side or the independent side? Where is the Trump nemesis? Where is the person that can fight back? The days of saying, well, when they go low, we go high. It just doesn't work. It doesn't rally the troops. It doesn't give them, it doesn't put the same amount of fear that they're putting in our people that we're putting in them. I think we're bringing a paper towel to a gunfight. And unfortunately, things won't change. As long as a bully is able to bully you, they will do what, Dale? Continue to bully you. So I just think that the left and other folks like me need opportunities to fight these folks back. That's why I go to Fox News, not because I like Fox News or it's my favorite network. BNC is my favorite network, but I go where they are on their territory and talk to them directly, not just preaching to my own choir. We don't have the civil debates. I remember last week you were saying, let's keep it civil. Well, at Fox News, it's not civil. And I like them to know that I'm here for it all the way. Let's fight it out in front of your people. And that is what we need more of, Dale. We have to show that we are not weak and passive, that we will fight back. We will do anything, in the words of Malcolm X, by any means necessary.
But Tezlyn, when Barack Obama was president, I remember one of the early stories was involving the number of death threats that he was getting, not just against him, but against Michelle Obama, against the kids. And then we started to see people showing up at rallies, Barack Obama rallies, dressed like we saw them on January 6th, with the AR-15s and the military assault rifles and the gear and the helmets. Where does it end if we then pursue your argument to the bitter end? There are 389 million firearms in this country. So, you know the old saying, an eye for an eye, everybody goes blind.
But I mean, you're right. I would love for it to just end if we could all just pray to remove racism in this country, but it's not going to happen. The reality is it's not going to happen. I'm not Barack Obama, but every time I go to Fox News, I get a death threat. Every time I'm on stage protesting for Black lives, drones are flying over my head. I understand what I call the consequences of consciousness. I understand that when I'm fighting for justice, I may not come home. I also understood that when I was in the military. That's why I signed up to be an M60 gunner and not to do paperwork. So for me personally, I'm not encouraging this for everybody else. But guess what? If you have an AR-14, guess what? I have a 9mm too. I believe in Black people being armed in self-defense. I believe in being able to protect yourself. So this is where, it gets a slippery slope. What I do know is praying, what Reverend Barber says, we're going to pray the hell out of them. That doesn't work. These people have dug in. So they need to know that there will be some people that pray, but there will also be some people that will spray as well and will defend themselves. I'm not promoting violence, but I am advocating for self-defense. They're not going to change. This is who they are. And this is who I am as well, which means that if I'm willing to fight for freedom, there's a cost that comes with that, Dale. I'm not wishing that on my life or anyone else. But I do know that the road that we're going on of just hoping that they'll change, it's not happening.
So the success of the civil rights movement, the Gandhi movement, the Martin Luther King movement was based on no nonviolent protest, realizing that that may have been the only means to the end. At that time, blacks were being lynched in record numbers. At that time, we were being spit on. We were being attacked by dogs. Will your way work, or will the way of Dr. King work as we now approach the anniversary of his holiday?
Well, I can't say either one of them will work. What I say is it's important to have balance. There's a yin and a yang. My friend and client, attorney Benjamin Crump, I always call him the Martin Luther King and I'm the Malcolm. We've said it before on the Breakfast Club. Him and I don't agree on a lot of things. He believes in praying to get people to do the right thing. He believes in singing Negro spirituals. I don't. I believe in the spirit of Tupac, which is I am the ambition of a rider, meaning that I will lean more towards the Malcolm X, which is if you come to my house, I will defend myself. So it's not a matter of will it work? This is where we are. We will never be able to change the hearts of man. The Bible's very clear. Only the hearts of man can change God. The only person that can change the hearts of man is God. What I'm saying is, while we're on this earth, alive and well, that everybody won't just roll over and allow you to do whatever to them and their family. So I can't change it. You can't change it. The question is, what do we offer as a counter? More singing, more begging, more marching? Well, that's fine. But also know that if you come around my way, and you come with that foolishness in my neighborhood, it might be a different story. And I just think it's important that they know that, Dale. We don't have to always take the passive role. We're strong. We're strong people. We fought back. We tell the stories of those who were enslaved, but we rarely tell about how there was rebellions, rebels within the slave movement. There were people that fought back. There were people that jumped off the boat and said, I would rather die rather than be a slave. There were people that actually fought back. We never tell those stories. And we need to hear more of that to know that we come from a people that have survived it all, and we will survive this. I tell people, if I get in a fight with a bear, don't worry about me, worry about the bear.
You know, I can tell you right now, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the bear. BNC contributor Tezlyn Figaro. Tezlyn, as always, thanks for being with us.